What is to come in Game of Thrones Season 7? Could there be someone unlikely as the prince who was promised and as the villain? So I have a lot of speculation along with the rest of the internet, and this will be all speculation, wild if you will. There's a pervasive theory going around about, I talked about it recently, about Sam and Gilly reading over it at the Citadel, but Azor Ahai, or the prince who was promised, and the legend of that coming more into focus, which I think that photo clearly shows is going to have them reading more about it, telling Jon, oh, it's you, and then seeing what happens after that. But then there's this theory about the three-headed dragon, and many people probably correctly assume that Daenerys and Jon Snow are two of the heads, but who's the third head? Many people have thought maybe it's Tyrion, maybe he is of Lannister origin. But wait, what if he's a true-born Lannister? What then? And that Cersei and Jaime are actually the bastard children of Daenerys Targaryen.
Well, I think it would make a lot of sense. I mean, they do have that twincest thing going on that's really uncomfortable.
That really happens a lot in the Targaryen bloodline. You may remember Daenerys' gross brother Viserys saying like, "You will be my bride," blah blah blah. You were born too late for Rhaegar.
They also have golden hair.
Well, Targaryen hair is more like white silver.
That's true. That's true. It is white silver.
But then maybe there's Joanna. She could have just been regular blonde. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we need to go back and see what hair color Joanna had.
But there is precedent for this within the prophecy. Now keep in mind, George R.R. Martin himself has said the prophecies, you shouldn't always trust them. Sometimes they're stupid, and there's like a lot of them that like cross over each other and contradict each other, even within the mythos of the show. But with the prince who was promised, there's a few stipulations to get there. One, that he needs to have Lightbringer, his sword. It needs to be forged 3 times and in the blood of someone that that person loves. With Azor Ahai, sorry, I mess it up sometimes. I keep thinking of Azul. Anyway, that was with his wife, Nisa, which, contrary to what I thought, was not a character in Death Note. And then would be able to have this, Valyrian steel sword, which Jaime conspicuously is holding a widow's wail, which was previously ice. So it would need one more forging to complete that. And with the blood of someone he loves, there's only one woman he loves who is currently poised to be the villain. And that's Cersei.
And she is looking, I mean, we all saw that
very
last
villainous
episode. She looks, I mean, on point, fashion on point, but like she's looking pretty crazy. She just destroyed an entire sept and also
her competition.
Her daughter-in-law. I don't know. I'm doing this in quotation. It was
really
definitely
her daughter-in-law.
And her kid just literally just boop. So
well, that would count for her mental state at the end of that. But what's also interesting is in the original prophecy, he killed his wife and before that a lion. Cersei is a lion in name only. If this is an accurate speculative idea, she would be technically a Targaryen at this point if this were true. But she very much emboldens and falls into that, but she also falls into Mad Queen territory. She's very obsessed with burning.
She likes wildfire a lot.
She loves wildfire, just
Can we
like a
discuss
certain
how much
Mad
wildfire
King.
she used in that one episode alone?
So, the Targaryens have those 2 types, and she seems to be of the mad type. Speaking of Targaryens, there's another idea that Daenerys could be the villain of Season 7, which would be an interesting turn, especially, it's not unexpected either. It's not expected, it's not unexpected, it's just in the right groove where most mediums suspect it. Because Dany, she has changed a lot over the years. She started as a pawn. She became someone who could conquer, someone who could attempt to rule fairly. However, she doesn't really rule that well, which she tends to do.
I completely agree with that. She is terrible at ruling.
She shows up in the city.
Yeah.
She imposes her way. They don't want it. There's a big fight, and then she says, I'm out, and she
then
walks
she's like,
away.
hey, I like XYZ dude. peace out.
Every time.
Every time.
But it does fit with Game of Thrones tropes, or not tropes, because it's kind of their own thing, but their style of subverting the typical fantasy route, which is, you know, the Golden Prince bangs his sister. The stalwart heroes, the Starks, all die before their story should have ended if this were a normal story. It would follow that we would think someone who is built up to be this democratic hero would turn out to be an unwanted presence in Westeros. And she would be unwanted. They're not into Targaryens at all.
Yep.
And she says she's going to break the wheel, but what if nobody wants the wheel broken?
What do you think she's going to do when she actually gets to...
I thought it meant she would like establish democracy, but then I realized she doesn't know what that is.
No, she has no idea what that is.
That was my impression on her. So I don't know. She might do a terrible job. She might have everyone opposing her.
She has no more slaves to free too. I mean, when she gets there, there's really just if I'm getting this right, flea bottom, correct? Where it's just,
she can manipulate them like Marjorie did.
She can manipulate them.
I don't think she's
like Marjorie
as good as Marjorie at that, though.
No, Marjorie was pretty fierce at manipulating.
I miss her a lot.
I miss her clothes too.
Yeah, so it could be an interesting setup if Daenerys was posed to be the villain of season 7. I would see her as more of a deuter antagonist, a secondary antagonist, more so than a first one, because it seems like at some point everyone has to galvanize to fight the real threat, and she would be one of the strongest opponents to the White Walkers.
Yes.
At least at this point, because we only know we need dragons, dragonfire, or dragonglass rather.
Right.
And Valyrian steel.
Yeah, I was about to say Valyrian steel.
Well, we only have a couple of those.
We just need to dig them out of the caves where the people at the dragon scale are.
They're a giant dragon. I'm just saying. You can't ride around a Valyrian steel.
Or can you?
As far as I know, but one day. As far as these theories go, I'm leaning more toward the Jaime theory, only because I like it so much. And I think Jaime is an interesting character. He's awful, but he's also redeemable. He has interesting morals.
Totally. I think that there's so many moments where he's actually likable, where you want to hate him, but then you're like, oh, he's trying so hard to do what he thinks is right while sleeping with his sister.
Brienne a lot, and I think Brienne is like one of the heroes of the whole story.
Their lady bro friendship is awesome.
I love it. I ship it. Maybe I shouldn't. Audience, which of these do you think is true? If either, or do you have another interesting theory? Let us know what that is in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.